There are 4 levels of leadership in a trade business. Most owners are stuck at level 1 and they don't even know it. Here's how to tell where you are and what it's costing you. The reason your trade business isn't growing, it isn't the market, your team, or the economy. It's the level you're leading at. Let me show you what I mean. Leadership is a skill that's developing stages. Most people plateau because they don't know what it takes to go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. They don't have a map. In this video, I'm going to show you how to find out where you are, 1, 2, 3, or 4, and how to go all the way to the top. You see, as a business owner, your team will never outgrow the leadership. Your business will never outgrow the leadership. So if your business feels hard and it's stuck, that's a real indicator that there's a leadership problem. Maybe you've hit the ceiling. I'm here to tell you that there's a way to identify what that ceiling is for you and how to move past it to make your business easier to manage and more profitable. Because you see, leadership is the thing that helps to make things easier in your business. It's not some magic technology, it's not software, it's leadership. And the cost of that, when we get this wrong, things in our business start to fall apart. People start to leave, things feel hard and heavy, and the reality is you're probably one resignation away from being back on the tools. As a business owner, especially a trade business owner, we can't have this. We want to be able to build a business that's like we set out. Easy to manage, kicking back on easy street. You're not afraid of hard work, and I know that, and so do you. That's what you built the business on. But the thing is, we can push as hard as we want against the ceiling, and we're not going to push through unless we know the spot to hit. The first level is what I like to call the doer. And the doer, they succeed by getting in and doing it. They lead from the front, they lead by example, they're on the tools, they're in the trenches with their guys, and they can be identified by the guy who says, here, let me show you how, and they jump in and they do it for their team. These are the people that everybody respects, they work hard, but the thing is, when we do that, we become the ceiling, we become the capacity limit of our team because our business's potential is capped by how much we can do. If you're working 60, 70, 80 hours a week, your to-do list never gets any smaller and it's always growing. You find yourself going, oh shit, yeah, I'll get to that in a minute, mate. This is probably a good indication you're sitting in the doer zone. And look, most clients I work with, they're in this zone too. Frustrated, working hard, but tired because that's what they've done and that's what they've been doing for years. The business feels heavy and hard and they feel stuck. But here's the good news. You don't have to stay there. It's at this point we want to graduate up a level. We want to move from doing all the work to letting our team doing all the work. We don't want to be the engine, the wheels, everything in the business. We want to be the person who makes decisions, who drives. So the next natural graduation is what we call the driver. Think about when you drive a car. What are you doing when you drive a car? You're deciding indicator, brake, accelerator. And what happens when you're driving? If you stop making all the decisions, pulling all the levers, doing all the things, the car stops. Or worse, it runs off the road and crashes. And that's what happens in your business if you stay at the driver. You're always on, you can't have a holiday. This level of leadership is really dictated by decisions. You make every single decision. And decision fatigue, I don't care what anyone says, that shit is real. It's exhausting, it's tiring, and sometimes you're like, for fuck's sakes, can't you just think for yourself for a minute? If you found yourself saying that, you're probably sitting here in the driver mode. And this is where I spend a lot of time. I thought this was leading. This looks and feels like leadership when you get started. You think, yeah, I'm doing everything. I'm making all the decisions. I'm hustling. I'm getting stuff done. This is awesome. And then you soon realize this is the reason your team doesn't grow. No one thinks for themselves. They wait for you to make decisions. And every time you go away, things either slow down, stall, or they fuck it up. Not because they're incompetent, not because they're lazy, but because they've never had to think for themselves. If we stay in driver too long, what we do is train our team to wait. The driver level of leadership creates followers. It creates passengers. If your team are all sitting in the minibus, you've got 9 of them, and you stop driving, what happens? They go nowhere. And that's what happens in businesses, especially trade businesses, if you sit in the driver for too long. Every time you stop driving, turning corners, everything stops. Like I said, or worse, we crash and burn. I see it all the time. But the good news is we can get out of this because what takes you from level 1 to 2 is to stop doing it for them and start teaching them to do it themselves. Letting go of the doing and letting you start to make the decisions. It's the first natural progression. But to go from level 2 to 3, we need to let go of the decisions. We need to start teaching our people to think and act like owners. We need to delegate, but also give them the ability to do the work and make the decision and think and act for themselves. Thinking and acting like an owner is not about owning the business. It's about being decisive, making decisions, and understanding the outcome of what you do. That's what makes people think and act like an owner. That's what differentiates you and your team. In all high-performing teams that I work with, I had Mark, for instance. He was stuck in the doer. He was a small little business, but he was doing everything. Every time his client called or his team called, guess what he did? He raced to site to do it for them. Not because he didn't trust them, it's because that was the only way he knew how to succeed. He was used to being the best tradesman. Doers fall into the tradesman hero trap. So what did we do? We let him step back. He let go of control of doing the work, coached his team to do it, but he did that through making all the decisions, made sure they made the right choices on site. Sure enough, he was in the driver mode. Fast forward 6 months, he hadn't made the progression. He was still operating in driver. He rang me one day and said, fuck, I don't know how we do this. How can you do this with a team? I've only got 6 people in my team. How could I do this with 10 or 12 where we're headed? I can't keep up now. We recognized he was stuck in driver. He was making all the decisions. So we did 2 things. We taught him the micro coaching moment and we gave him clear direction. We gave the team clear direction. And over the next 30 days, everything changed. It went from 150 calls a day to only a handful. And that was because the clients wanted to know information. And that was because clients were calling for updates or things like that. His team started to execute. And what happened to the business? More money, easier to manage. He just took 2 weeks off to take his wife away and his family away on holidays. This wasn't possible 6 months ago. It's because he's upgraded from driver. He implemented those 2 tools. 2 things we teach inside the Arena Academy. 2 of the key tools that help drive the performance engine of your business. Now, the 3rd level of leadership. This level is dictated by delegation. This is where we start to learn how to delegate. We give responsibility to others. We start to let them run projects. We start to put them in charge of things. This is a key lesson to learn as a leader. You have to be able to delegate. And there's some key things when it comes to delegation. And what I find business owners that get stuck in the facilitator, it's because they fuck up delegation. And here's the thing. Delegation seems simple. Hey, Reese, do this for me. Sure, we delegate it. But do they have the information they need? Do they really understand what the outcome is? Because they give you back substandard work and you go, oh, it's easier if I just do it myself. These are all warning signs you're stuck in facilitator and you haven't graduated past that. You see, do they have the information they need? Do they understand what good looks like? What's the outcome? If they absolutely fucking nail this task, what would it look like? The 3rd part is, do they have permission? Most teams don't make decisions because they don't know if they're allowed. And while it might be obvious to you, it's only obvious because you know you have permission to make a decision. Permission is the number 1 reason your team doesn't decide. They feel like they aren't allowed to make a decision and they care so much they don't want to upset or make the wrong decision for you as the owner. So we need to make sure our team knows they have permission. Inside the Arena Academy, our program for trade businesses, we implement a thing called the traffic lights. And this is a permission framework that makes it super simple for your team to know what's a green light, an orange light, and a red light. Super simple, such a powerful process. And every business that implements it gives me feedback that this one tool is a game changer and their team loves it, absolutely loves it. They make decisions faster, they execute better, they're more energized at work. And you know, as a consequence, less wasted time, less phone calls, everybody gets more shit done, we make more money, and it's way easier to manage. And you know what? It's actually way more fun to own when it's not annoying and you don't have 100 calls a day. You see, the facilitator is an important step. We can't skip it because we need to learn how to delegate, but we need to watch out for those red flags. If you're having to step in and fix everyone's projects, constantly check their work, always answer questions about something after you've delegated, we need to implement the delegation framework, and that's another one of the ones I use inside our program. I ran through it before: information, permission, outcome. Super simple, really clear. Do that when you delegate and move from facilitator to the 4th step is the leader. This is all about coaching, designing, and creating an environment that your team wins. You see, as a leader, we need a coach. And I've heard this before. You see, I'm a small business. I've only got a team of 8. How can I coach? I've still got to do X. Being a leader is how you show up. It's how you approach things. It's not about how big your business is. If you show up and act like a leader, the consequence of that is your team will perform better, your business becomes easier to manage, and it will grow if you choose to let it. You see, how we show up is dictated around not micromanaging, not stepping in to save our team, helping them win, using coaching techniques like our micro coaching moment and our performance framework to really help our team accelerate their growth so that they become as good a tradesman as you or better. That's an indicator of a great leader, is they help their team become better than them. Leaders bring talented people together and then create an environment where they can succeed. Because if your team's winning, guess what? You're going to win. In my trade contractor business that I had, our leadership team had been with me for almost 10 years. They stuck around because I created an environment where they could win. Since leaving that business, they've all moved on. Most of them own their own business now and have their own contractor businesses of various sizes, all because we gave them the skills and tools to win, and now they're doing that for themselves. It's such a powerful framework. When we show up as a leader, everyone's life gets better. Your team wins, you win, things are easier to manage and more profitable. You can go away on holidays and your team not only thrives without you, but it grows. This is the power of having real leaders in your business. 70 to 80% of your success as a trade business is all based around people. And the thing is, people need to be led. Micromanaging people get the shits and leave. People that are frustrated, someone's always stepping in, making them feel like they don't know what they're doing, they eventually leave. Leaders bring good people and help them win, and that's what's going to build you a successful trade business. Get your people right, and everything else becomes easier. In the modern world, there's no shortage of knowledge or information or strategy. Jump on ChatGPT or Claude and it'll tell you how to grow your trade business, how to find new clients. It'll build you marketing strategies. Technology is out there for information. What it won't do is build leaders and create great people in your business. That is your job as a leader. And if you're showing up as a driver, you're not doing your job. Your business will stall to the level of your leadership. If you want to build a business that goes beyond where you are right now, maybe you feel it needs to be more stable, this is what we do. Somewhere in the comments, there'll be a link to have a chat with us and you can learn more about what it looks like. But this is what we do, is we help people go from doer and driver to leader to make their business easier to manage and more profitable. It makes it the business that they dreamt it was when they started, not the one they've ended up with now operating at these levels. Such a powerful framework. If you're like all my clients when I talk to and work through this framework, you've probably identified where you sit right now. And if you've noticed you're in the driver, you're in the doer, maybe you think you're in the facilitator and you want to move to the leader, click the link and let's have a chat. One of our leadership coaches will help diagnose where you are and give you the exact roadmap you need to take yourself and your team up to the leader level. If you thought this was useful and you want to see more, hit the like and subscribe so you don't miss the latest updates on how to lead your team in a trade business.